My name is Kat Kibben. I'm a job post writing expert, and today I want to give you a guide to creating inclusive job postings. Funny enough, today I am sitting in the woods in Mississippi, which feels like a weird place to have this conversation, but look, like, how gorgeous, right? That's the joy of van life. It takes you to random places, it inspires different conversations, and that's exactly why we're sitting here today, because I've been thinking a lot about this topic. If you've read any job postings over the last, let's say, 3 months, you're probably starting to notice some trends. Everyone's looking for a passionate team player and someone who's inspired by, and there are these phrases that are so signature AI that it's becoming a sea of sameness. And my issue with all of this is not necessarily all of our copy and paste, it's the way that we approach inclusion when we're starting from something that was never inclusive in the first place. Right now, I think what I'm seeing from a lot of employers is their attempt at creating an inclusive job post means putting an EEO statement at the bottom or talking about your ERGs in your About Us. And I just feel like we're really missing the mark if all we're doing is telling people we're inclusive instead of actually showing them by changing the way we ask, changing the way we write requirements. Because there are a few really obvious points where we are not being inclusive right now that are getting copied and pasted by the AI because, frankly, we never mastered them when we created the data set, meaning all the jobs we posted forever and ever before now. And so it's things like years of experience. So on paper, years of experience could help us navigate seniority, but the reality is that it's not quite as telling as you think. So what we see is, so you'll say 5 years of experience. Well, let's say you and I were both directors of recruiting at two completely different companies. We could both have 5 years of experience, but a lot of experiences doing a lot of different things. So it's not exactly a parallel for the work that we want people to do. The other factor we need to mention here is ageism, right? Years of experience can very easily become exaggerated. I see a lot of posts right now writing 5+ years, 10+ years, and you're like, plus what? 1, 7, 18? Like, what's the mystery number we're plussing? What's the range is 5 to 12 years? Well, that's a really long time. And the other extreme we see is that when you say no experience required, we start to edge out older applicants through our biases. We expect someone younger to show up, and our preference bias shows up as hiring younger people into entry-level roles, even though we have qualified candidates from every generation applying to the job. When we look at years of experience, what we really want to see is that you're not using ranges. We're not using the plus sign, please. Can we please get rid of the plus sign? Just say a minimum of, and write an actual minimum. No exaggeration required. What's the absolute minimum amount of time and practice this person needs? And then get explicit about what they're doing, right? 2 years working on a team where you managed this and owned this and your deliverables and you were measured by this success mark. Get really explicit, or you're probably being a little ageist when it comes to those years of experience. College degree requirements. I'm excited to say that I read a study this week that said over 60% of posted jobs right now don't actually have a degree requirement. Like, good. Most of the things we're hoping people will learn about AI and everything did not exist when the majority of the workforce today got their jobs. How dare you require a technology degree from 1980 when we all know things have just kind of changed since then, right? The other factor we need to include here, and we don't say it out loud, it becomes kind of a upper class bias, honestly, is this idea that you have to be pretty fucking lucky to go to college, to be able to make a decision between learning and investing in books and all the expenses that come with attending a university or college instead of raising a family, going to work, paying your bills. When we require college degrees as a blanket for every person who works at our company, whether they are cleaning floors or they're the CEO of the company, what you're saying and you're not actually thinking about is that you must have a very large debt in order to be able to afford to work. That's just not right if you ask me. The other bias I am seeing all the time in job postings, and if you really want to think about inclusion, we have to think about our tactics and strategy. That means looking at actually how many bullets are on the job post in the first place. Do we have 18 bullets, 35 bullets? You've gone too far. What we see is that there's a distinction between how people respond to a really long list of bullets. One person might read that list of bullets and say, I'm definitely qualified on every bullet, great. The longer that list gets, the more we introduce doubt. Where the doubt shows up most significantly is for people who have not had historical privilege. People who doubt has been part of their life because of the way the world works. I want you to consider putting 7 or fewer bullets on your job postings. That means getting really specific about what you're looking for and not exaggerating those requirements. When we have 7 or fewer, we open the talent pool and we make job postings more inclusive simply by allowing more people to actually understand if they're qualified or not. Remember, the longer the list, the more doubt. Now, the other thing I really want you to think about are these skills-based keywords. That's the last element if you want to create a more inclusive job post. Everyone is using skills-based keywords. The hot trend right now is skills-based hiring. But here's my question for you. Who defines the skill? Who defines what that skill means, what it looks like in practice? Who says what good is? If you don't know the answer to that question, you're probably a long way off from skills-based hiring. What you can do to make your job posting more inclusive is add context. Explain how you'll know they did a good job. Give some example activities and what someone who embodies that message, who embodies that keyword, does that other people don't. If you can look at all of these tactics and really work your way backwards to give people something that anyone can understand, you have a chance of creating an inclusive job posting in a world where most are just generating the same old shit. If you're interested in learning more about this topic, you should subscribe to this channel because it's an area where I'm spending research and learning more every day. I'm creating videos all the time to give you more detail and help you learn this topic so you can become an advocate and an ally at work. Hit subscribe now. I'll see you next time.